Hi, I'm Bruce Millington and I'm delighted to be joined by Paul Keeley and Tom Collins to look back on a fantastic 2018-2019 jump season which comes to an end at Sandown on Saturday. So many great memories, so many great horses and legends made. I guess there were two real highlights in terms of horses that jumped out of the racing bubble and really captured people's imagination. And Keels, I know you were very close to the action for the first one. Paisley Park, I mean, that was brilliant, wasn't it?
Yeah, amazing. It's funny enough, I only ended up in the Winners' Enclosure because I'd had a lump on Frodon and it got me right out of a hole because I wasn't having a great festival until then. And so I went in to cheer on Bryony. And next thing you know, one of Andrew Gamble's friends comes over and says, "Oh, Andrew Gamble would like to meet you. He's a big Weekender fan." So went over, literally met him 5 minutes before the start of the Stars hurdle, and we had a little chat, and then we watched it. I hadn't had a bet in the race, but I just thought I'm going to have a few quid on this just to chat around. And we were shouting, and it was brilliant. And as they finished, I mean, of all the things that you do, he's just won the Stars hurdle, and where's Mr. Keeley? And that's when we had a big hug. It was amazing. And he's such a nice
lovely
man.
fella.
Such a nice guy.
It's incredible, isn't it, that a guy with no sight can get almost more enjoyment out of racing than the rest of us, because he's kind of picks it up in a totally different way, doesn't he?
I mean, what do you say? Best day of my life, and he puts everything into it. He's heart and soul, he loved it, and it was fantastic to be there.
And he's a proper horse, this, and he Kills.
He's very, very good. I don't think there's any doubt about that. The way he powered up that hill. You think, he's half in a little bit of trouble, but he only traded about 3-1 in running because everybody knew what he was going to do. You know what I mean? So he's fantastic.
That was fantastic, and Emma Lavelle, one of the nicer trainers as well. Fantastic to see her win. But really, I mean, obviously the star of the show this winter has been Tiger Roll, hasn't he, Tom? I mean, it's great to have a proper household name legend of a horse now, isn't it?
Yeah, look, it's a cliche that everyone says it's a small horse with a big heart, but that is exactly what he is. Won the Grand National last year, and everyone thought, you know what, this is incredible. I can't believe he's just won the Grand National. Look at him in stature, so small. He's won it. He's clung on from pleasant company. And then he just does exactly the same, but more impressive 12 months on. It was fantastic. David Russell, perfect ride. Tiger Roll he pecked twice, close home, over 2 of the fences. And that would stop many horses from winning the race. Yet he was tanking over the last. He was tanking up the running. Davey was holding on, and it was fantastic. It was brilliant for connections. I mean, he won the Boyne Hurdle early in the season, the cross country. What can this horse not do?
The cross country was astonishing, wasn't it? I mean, normally that, he'll have 1 or 2 for company up the running, but he absolutely pissed him, didn't it? It was incredible.
I've never seen obviously I'm not that old, but I've never seen a Cheltenham Festival winner win that easily. He didn't turn a hair that day. He's just a fantastic horse. He could do it again next year. You don't know. He's that good.
Could he win the Gold Cup, Kills?
I think he'd have been in the first 4 this year. I just look at the way he's improved. I mean, Grand National winners don't win 2.5 mile grade 2 hurdles, do they? It's bonkers, isn't it?
Win again.
You know what I mean? He's got masses of talent. He's 10 next year, though. That's the problem. I doubt they'll even bother, especially if they want to go for the Grand National. You don't bottom him in the Gold Cup, do you? I thought they'd do the same. You know what I mean? I'd love to have seen him in the Gold Cup this year because I think he would have been. I think he would have been up there. And I was talking to Tom Siegler about it. We both said that we would probably back him each way if he was to run in it. But it's probably a year too late now. And let's go for another national.
Well, I mean, you couldn't rule him out, could you, Tom?
No, definitely not. I mean, he's the first horse since Red Rum, 1974, 75 to win the race twice in a row. I mean, he could win it 3 times in a row. He'd probably got a favourite if he, wins maybe.
73, 74.
Was it? Yeah. Oh, sorry, I wasn't born then. Close.
It was like to say he wasn't born then, but sadly not.
I was only drinking 6 pints a day then.
The first horse race I ever watched was Crisp v Red Rum.
Was it?
It cried my eyes out. I felt so sorry for Crisp. I hated Red Rum. Anyway, there's been some really amazing human performances as well this winter, haven't there? And all of them related to that fantastic yard down at Ditchy. Let's talk about the man himself, Paul Nicholls, Kills, because there was a time, wasn't there, where after the Corto and the Denman era and Big Bucks and all those had gone, he was turning into more of a kind of numerical trainer who was bashing out the winners and using his brilliant skill at placing horses and his knowledge of the programme book to just clean up, prize money here, there and everywhere without having the stars. But the big names are back now, aren't they? And I think that's great for racing because I think punters love a Paul Nicholls fab.
The jump season is much better for him being a powerhouse again, no doubt about it. I mean, he just didn't have that many really good horses for a few years, and he's a trainer that gets the best out of every single one. Like, you know what I mean? And his placing is amazing. Like, and I'm told that any race that is reopened, he's there looking at it. Like, you know what I mean? What can I put? What can I stick in this? Like, you know what I mean? And he's just he's just so on the ball.
And
it's
also,
brilliant.
Kills, I mean, I know we're obviously disappointed Surname's not running, but how many times can you honestly say that it's so rare for a Nichols horse not to be running, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, that's it. He runs his horses as well, and that's what you like about it. I mean, look what he's done with Frodon. I mean, crikey, that horse is only 7. You know what I mean? He's been around forever, hasn't he?
I remember him running a chase at 4.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he won a big handicap chase at Cheltenham at the age of 4. Like, just before Christmas. It's bonkers, and to keep them enthusiastic for that long. I mean, it's a real skill. I mean, obviously, we talk about Gordon Elliott and Tiger. Well, he's done that. He won a Triumph Hurdle, and he's now won 2 Grand Nationals. Amazing. Like, you know what I mean? The horses like that don't come along very often.
Who's the Nichols horse you're most looking forward to?
Oh, well, I think I think Surname. There are so many people who don't believe it, but I mean, I absolutely do believe it, because time was amazing on the day, especially compared to all the other races. His jumping was sensational. He went off really hard. I don't think he's a fast ground 2 miler though. Don't blame him at all for not running tomorrow. I'm quite pleased that he's not running in the other chase as well, because that makes it more competitive from a punting point of view.
What do you think?
The race they want to win.
What can he win?
The race they want to win is the King George.
Right.
So he's not really a 2 miler.
No.
It's 2 mile 5 at Ascot. He stayed it really well. He obviously is very good going right-handed, whether he needs to or not. Like, but the horses that don't do it at Cheltenham, people think, oh well, they're not good enough. You know what I mean?
It's just a quirky place, isn't it? Plenty good horses.
If we only judged Desert Orchid by what he did at Cheltenham, you'd say he was an average Gold Cup winner.
Yeah.
Or below average Gold Cup winner.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Because he was £25 below form when winning it. You know what I mean? But he was a brilliant horse, but he just preferred going right-handed. So we'll have to wait and see. He's only had a couple of goes left-handed anyway, and he might just be that he's grown up. But I've no problem whatsoever in believing that he's as good as he is. I also no problem whatsoever in believing that Altio is better than the handicapper has him.
Sure.
So
that could be some King George clash next year.
It could be, yeah.
And Tom, I want to talk about the RSA, because I thought that was a really good race this year. 3 cracking chasers, and how do you see that situation with them? And obviously Lost in Translation, who then came out and beat Nichols at top of the game at Aintree.
Yeah, well, I've backed top of the game for the Gold Cup next season. I think he's a fantastic young chaser. Paul Nichols works miracles with horses like him. The RSA was a great race, wasn't it? Santini was bang there, and Delta Work, and it was just a great race. I think all 3 are going to contest Grade 1s next year, and they're going to go close. I think top of the game's got a great chance in the big races, and Harry Cobden gave it a perfect ride as well, didn't he? Like, Harry Cobden's another shining star of this jump season. I think a great acquisition. Obviously, he's been at Nichols for a few years, but a great acquisition, making him the number 1.
So confident, isn't he?
Yeah, he's so
Such
confident.
He
he knows exactly what to do on a horse, and if you've backed Harry, you rarely complain after saying, what has he done there? He's just one of a number of fantastic young jockeys at Nichols Yard, and there's no wonder that Nichols has racked up 3,000 career winners when he's got jockeys like that riding for him.
Let's think about how many career winners Dan Skelton might have, because I know when Dan left Nichols is to set up, everyone expected him to go well, but 200 plus winners this season is a hell of an achievement. And him and his brother Harry, they really have taken the jumps game by the scruff of the neck, haven't they, Kills? And they're here to stay, aren't they?
Oh, obviously he had a good grounding with Paul Nichols, but to go within the space of 5 years to training 200 winners, any person has ever done it is mine pipe, for God's sake. It is absolutely remarkable, and he's another trainer not afraid to run them and keep running them. And they go in and out of form, like any horses do when you got handicappers and that. But to do it without any superstars as well, remember, you know what I mean. So he's obviously again a superb placer of a horse. He needs some superstars, and when he gets some, he's champion trainer for as long as you like, isn't he? That's what's going to happen. It will happen within the next 4 or 5 years, definitely.
Talk about Harry as a rider, because he only seems to ride for his brother. The amount of outside rides he gets is tiny. But this isn't just sit on them and point.
He'll have a ride in every race soon for him anyway, isn't he?
Yeah,
So,
quite. He's some jockey, isn't he?
He's fantastic, and he often rides horses that only cost 1,000, 2,000 guineas or pounds, whatever. So
I actually think his achievement has been pretty chronically underlooked, because obviously, people tend, for whatever reason, to give the trainer a bit more attention than the jockey in jump racing, I think. I don't know why, but they do. But, you know, if you look at what he's done, he's one person that you get all these people, oh, you never write about my horse, or you never get the credit I deserve. Mostly they actually do. But I think one person who could turn around and say, well, hang on a sec, look at what I've achieved this season. It's Harry Skelton.
Yeah, definitely. And he's only going to improve, isn't he? Dan Skelton's going to get more horses. They run them throughout the summer as well as the winter, so he has opportunities to ride throughout, and he's probably going to challenge Dickie Johnson maybe next season or years after that.
Absolutely.
That's just what I like about Skelton is, you know, I mean, owners can be very picky. I mean, I actually spoke to one trainer. He said he had to take Noel Feely off horse because the owners didn't want him. I mean, absolute bonkers. I mean, what a great jockey, but that's how picky they can be. With Dan Skelton, he says, if you don't want Harry riding it, have it trained somewhere else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I like that. I like that. A bit of loyalty. Obviously, brothers and that, but, you know, the whole team, they seem very, very close-knit.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I think they're brilliant for racing.
Incredible. Absolutely brilliant.
And the problem is, the one thing I say is they're getting monstrously overbet now.
Right.
You know what I mean? Some horses are going ludicrously short.
But the trouble is, you kind of take that view, but then they're the ones that absolutely dot up, don't they? I mean, to be honest, if I've had a bet in a race and I see a well-backed Skelton, my heart sinks. I just think, well, it's going to collect, and it invariably does. We cannot finish our review of the jump season without mentioning the wonderful Bryony Frost. I mean, both in the saddle and in front of the ITV camera, she's been a superstar. I think she's going to become a household name in racing. She's just brilliant, isn't she? And, you know, this isn't a girl doing well, Tom. She's just bloody brilliant, isn't she, you know?
Yeah, she's a fantastic rider, and she's probably the leading jockey at actually feeling what a horse wants in a race. She doesn't ask for too much. She lets the horse do what the horse wants, and the horse often replies for her. She wins so many races. And
if we're talking about women jockeys, you cannot let Rachel Blackwell go unmentioned because she is absolutely brilliant as well. They're both top-class jockeys.
I just think with Bryony Frost, her ability to explain and to give you that insight into what it was like during a race in those post-race interviews.
Oh, she's brilliant. She's a brilliant interviewer, no doubt about it.
She's superb. And I tell you what, whenever she wants to pack in, I watched her on ITV's coverage at Aintree. She was just utterly superb. Very quickly before we go, chaps, one horse that you think will win at the 2020 Cheltenham Festival. Keels.
I won't say win. A horse that I'm looking forward to seeing go up in trip is Gardens of Babylon. Now, obviously, 4-year-olds sometimes have a difficult second season, but I think he's crying out for a step up in trip, and I think he'll turn into a very good stayer at some point.
Tom Collins?
Blue Sari, second in the Champion Bumper, I think will win the Supreme next year for Willie Mullins and JP McManus.